Hey, what's up? It's Chad Altman doing a video for you today to help you learn how to cure the trauma inside of you. So, a lot of times in life, we have particular situations that crop up and they create blocks that end up touching every fabric of our existence, whether it be at work or in relationships or as a parent or whatever it is. Like, we run into these problems where we get blocks. Have you ever been in a situation? Let's talk about me for a second. I've been in situations where, for example, I'll tell you, in a social, this is a little vulnerability, right? I've been in social settings, right? And I've been like at a bar, and this was a while ago. I was in a bar and I was with a whole bunch of friends of mine, and they were like, "Hey, you should go talk to that girl over there." And I was like crippled with fear. I could never. And I'm like super outgoing, extroverted, like totally a guy that could typically, you would think, walk up and talk to a woman. But in this moment, I was just completely and utterly paralyzed with fear, right? And so that's an example of a fear block in my life, right? So there's all these different things that happen and transpire in our life, but usually it comes from a source, right? And so stay with me for a second. So there's a source to all of these blocks, and it trickles into all of the areas of our life. And so for me, I'm going to get to some of the wounds that I created. Like, they were there. So for example, when I say the word divorce to you, what does that mean to you? Like, what comes up for you, right? When I hear the word divorce, for the longest time for me, I just felt broken, not good, not willing to work, right? And the reason why is when I was a child, my parents divorced, and immediately I blamed myself for it. I had to figure out a way to find meaning, right? Because what happens is we can have a neutral idea, something neutral, right? Something very neutral like divorce, right? But since it was in my family, I assigned the meaning to it. And the meaning to me was I was not good enough to be able to have a normal family. That's the meaning that I assigned to it. So then through the rest of my life, while my parents were split up and I was young, I just felt like I didn't belong. Like I wasn't like other kids. Like I couldn't fit in to the other group of people because I felt like a fake, a phony. And so that carried on into adulthood. Like I carried that wound for such a long time that I was unable to really like get to the source and heal it, right? And so then I'll tell you about another one, right? So vulnerability again. My mom, when I was a young child, after my parents split, after that divorce, right? So here I am blaming myself, but then in kids, when kids blame themselves and they have issues, what happens is they project, right? So I was projecting outwardly in my behaviors, right? I became a very difficult kid. I was saying no all the time. I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't follow rules. I was just very, all the time, super extra at everything that I did. And so my mom was dealing with a lot of changes in her own life. And so what did she do? She was like, okay, I need to send you to live with your father, right? And so she sent me to live with my father. Well, what that created for me in that moment was an abandonment wound within myself. And so how that abandonment wound it existed was because my mom sent me to live with my father, right? So in a normal situation, like say like, you know, a parent's having a difficult time, so it takes their child and you get to go live with your dad, and like some people like would assign that as like a neutral meaning, right? But for me, I assigned it because my mom said your behavior has been too much, right? But those words right there, those words, too much, right? I assigned meaning to that. So we have a neutral idea, but then we assign meaning, right? We assign meaning to the trauma, right? So then for the rest of my life, I was just like, I'm too much. I don't deserve love. I do not deserve love, and I am too much for other people, right? So then in social scenarios, as I got older, like I felt myself like I was the pretender, like I didn't even know who I was, like, and then in romantic relationships, it showed up in such a way that like I found myself like all the time, like overly being like earning love. Like I have to earn your love. Like, I have to earn your love because I felt abandoned, right? So I felt like I had to earn my mom's love, right? And I had to earn my dad's love. And so then in turn, like, I felt like I had to earn love from every single partner that I came in contact with romantically. And then, like, with friends, like, I felt the same way. And so this then, let's talk about all of them, right? If we're talking about all our wounds, let's talk about all of them. So then my dad, right? My dad raised me, and there was like some things that like weren't okay, right? There were some things like he struggled, and like because of his struggles, he did the best that he could, but like I was in the midst of that because I lived with him, right? And so because of that, like I built this really weird dynamic with men. Like for the longest time, I didn't trust men. Like I just couldn't have relationships with men. Like, and so when I would create these friendships in my life, and I'd have friends that like, because sometimes friends suck, right? Like friends let you down, and then like it's like I just confirm it, right? It's like I don't trust men. Then something happens in a relationship, and then I reconfirm, right? I reconfirm. So it's like I'm not worthy of love. I do not value love. I'm not worthy of love. I am not valuable enough to earn love. I don't deserve a normal family dynamic. So every single time a situation in every new relationship comes to play, I reconfirm to myself that trauma wound. And see, the crazy thing is that when this happens in our life, it will repeat itself, and it will repeat itself, and it will repeat itself over and over and over again. But here's the beauty in it. There's beauty in your trauma. And here's why. Your trauma is showing up every time. One, to protect that child inside of you, right? It's all trauma is when you get this feeling and you want to run away, or you're trying to anxiously attach to someone, or maybe you have a level of codependency, whatever it is, there's a child in you screaming out like, I just love, like, protect me. I need to be loved. Please keep me safe. And so your body is just giving you an opportunity, and your mind and your heart and your soul is just giving you an opportunity to re-heal that stuff from childhood. And so for the longest time, I wanted to smoke it out, drink it out, have sex, and fuck it out. Like, I did all of these things and to run away from it. But then one day, I decided to lean into it. I leaned into that darkness. And rather than, one day I just decided, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not fucking running anymore. I am not going to run from this darkness. Because, I had this pattern that kept on happening over and over in relationships within friends and with men and with women. And I just was completely and utterly defeated and unhappy. And like, coupled with my addiction, all of these things were weighing on me. And then I got sober, right? And then I got sober, like, in such a beautiful gift to have the gift of sobriety. And then now I'm sober, right? But I'm like still having to deal with these wounds that are coming up in these patterns. And so here's the beauty of how to heal your trauma, right? We have a neutral idea. We assign meaning. Every time we take that meaning and we reopen it up with a new relationship and we don't do the work, we reconfirm. We reconfirm the trauma wound all again, reassigning the meaning again, but even deeper. So it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and we never heal it. But here's the beauty of it. It's not going to go away until you heal it or feel it. So when that crops up and the pattern comes again, we have to sit to ourselves and be like, okay, at what point in my life did I feel like somebody was going to leave me? Why do I feel this angst inside of me so much when she doesn't call? Why do I feel this angst up inside of me so much when I don't hear back from her? Like, why do I feel this angst so much time when my friend has decided to go hang out with somebody else when he made plans with me, right? Like, where is the source, right? And so we have to find that feeling, and we have to chase it, right? And we have to like look, in 90% of the time, it's going to be in childhood. We're going to find it in childhood. And we'll be able to trace it back to when's the first time I felt like somebody left me that was going to hang out with me? When is the first time a man was not there for me? When is the first time that a woman was not there for me? Then you have your source, right? So in this case, particularly, right, with my parents, they were married. I blame myself, right? But here's what we have to do. We have to reframe it. We have to reframe our trauma, right? We have to assign it new meaning, not the meaning that we've been assigning it for a long time, like I couldn't have a normal family. No, I am deserving, I am whole, I am complete, I deserve all of the beautiful things in life, right? We love that child. Second, ready? Reframe. My parents got divorced because they were not a good fit. They just weren't a good fit. That's not my fault. It's actually their fault that they couldn't have a relationship. And you know what's beautiful about that? Like, they saved me from living in that environment. It's actually a gift. And then here's another one. Abandonment. My mom sending me to live with my dad, right? See how I say that? Sending me to live with my dad. My mom was going through so much stuff of a divorce of her own that she could not handle that. And coupled with a child that was so out of control, she could not handle her own emotions, let alone handle the emotions of a child, right? It was not about me. It was about her and her struggles and her suffering. She wanted to love me more than anything. She still loves me more than anything. The cool thing is I have relationships now with my parent in a different dynamic. And now, because I reframe it, right? I reframe the trauma. I can show up differently in the relationship now. I'm willing to bet if you're watching this and you've had struggles within relationships with parents and stuff, it's hard for you to show up. It's hard. And I mean, I'm not, and by no means, I'm not condemning, like if you've been at the hand of neglect or abuse or anything like that, for you to not set boundaries for yourself. But you can set boundaries and show up in relationships in completely different ways. So listen, I'm so excited to be sharing some of this beautiful knowledge and awesome things that I've come into my life and healed from. And I've also done the work to be certified as a coach and to help you. So like this video, subscribe to my channel for awesome, amazing videos to come up to continue to show you how to heal on your journey and become the best version of yourself. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Take care. Stay blessed.